Okay, hello everyone. Namaskar. My name is Lipika Manti. I'm a storyteller from Bhubaneswar. About me, I have worked as an educator for more than 20 years, and the last few years had been into storytelling, and I do enjoy it a lot. So, my story for today is an echo tale, an inspiring echo tale from India. La 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 la. And the name of my story is The Forest Man of India, Jadav Payeng. Once upon a time, in a big river island in the Brahmaputra in India, there lived a boy who loved nature. He loved the plants and animals around him. He loved his river, and more importantly, he loved his island. The name of his island is Majuli. And Majuli Island, these people are the missing tribe who live on that island. And the tribe people are hardworking people. Everything around them, around that boy, was beautiful. But each monsoon brought disaster to the island, creating a heavy loss of life and property. More importantly, the island got eroded. It shrunk in size, and the topsoil, the vegetative soil, got washed away with the flood because there will be tremendous flood disturbing their life. So, in a year after each flood, the tribe people would try their best to settle up, to rehabilitate and restore normalcy. And they continued their life. But in the year 1979, the flood was in its full fury. All the perennial trees got uprooted. They were devastated. There was a huge loss of life and property. And what happened is there was no chance of recovery. And after such the flood, the boy went out looking for his kettle. But what he saw, he was heartbroken. He found hundreds and hundreds of snakes lay dead on a sandbar. And he wondered, how could this happen? Then he got to know that when the river had gushed down from the mountains along with the debris, it had brought down numbers of snakes and dumped on a sandbar. And thereafter, there had been 12 to 14 days of scorching heat. And without any shade and shelter, all the snakes have scorched to death. And the boy wondered if animals could wither away, would perish without trees, without shade and shelter, what would happen to human beings? And he shared his concern with the people of his tribe. And then he got to know his tribe, they said that the only thing is you can give them a new home for their rehabilitation. But how to do that? You have to go a forest. That's what they said. But forest in a barren land, is it possible? How can trees grow in a barren land? Then they said, perhaps the tallest grass can grow. Tallest grass? What is the tallest grass? They said it's bamboo, for bamboo is not a tree, it's a grass. And the tallest grass perhaps can grow in the barren land. And they gave him 20 saplings of bamboos. So that had stuck. The boy was very much curious. He was excited that he's definitely going to plant those saplings in a barren land. And the very next day, the boy canoed the muddy river all by himself. He canoed up and up and up. And he wanted to plant all the barren lands. But then he chose one and he reached the sandbar, and he was determined that he would plant the 20 saplings there. Then the next day, the boy went with the 20 saplings and he planted one by one. He planted one sapling, then he went and he planted the other sapling. Then he came, he took the third sapling, and in this way he planted all the saplings one by one. And the next biggest task was how to water these plants, for the sandbar on which he planted the bamboo saplings were 2 to 3 kilometers away from the river. Every day, his routine was to get up early in the morning at 4 o'clock, and then he would bicycle to the river, and then he will canoe down to the sandbar, and he will collect water from the river and walk all the way to where he has planted the saplings and would water them. His hands would hurt, his back would ache, and his leg also will hurt walking for such a long distance. But he didn't give up. His perseverance, his determination, his hard work, and his self-belief paid. And in this way, since it was very difficult for him every day to do it, he created a watering system. For the smaller sapling, he just put earthen pots with perforation under it so that water would trickle down the whole week without him pouring water in that. In this way, he managed and he did water the plants every day. And then one day, the small patch of bamboo trees grew into a thicket. The boy was excited. He was very happy with his achievement. And then he thought that only bamboo trees won't work because these are not enough for wild animals to come and stay. He wanted to plant many more other different kinds of plants. But how can he do it? It is just a sandbar. And for other trees to grow, he needs to put all the other things. He has to make the land fertile. So the next day, he got red ants, termites, earthworms, cow dung, and whatnot to make the soil fertile. He worked really hard, and then he got those saplings from the neighboring villages, and he got the seeds from the other persons, and he started in his work. He planted not for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. He planted for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and so on. And then there he saw that more plants and trees have grown. And not only that, along with that, wildlife have come to his forest. He was very, very happy. And soon the boy, he went on planting more and more trees. Name any tree, it was there in his forest. Sal, peepal, banyan, mango, jackfruit, coconut, cashew nuts, chestnuts, name any tree, and it was there in this man's forest. And more animals came to live in his forest. His forest teemed with wildlife, the buffalo, the elephants, the chimpanzees, migratory birds, all were there in his forest. And then came the Royal Bengal tiger, and not many were happy, for they knew that if the tiger wandered away to the nearby villages, it will take away their cattle, and who knows, maybe to turn to a man-eater. And they were very much against this forest. they all persuaded the man to chop down the forest, to cut it down, but he resisted that he would never ever do that, for greenery is what we need, otherwise there would not be any rain. And in this way, the man went on planting more and more trees. But then an idea struck him that in order to not to take the tiger away from the forest, he planted short grasses, which will attract smaller animals like the deer and the rabbits, the boars, the pigs, and he did that. And here you can see there are rabbits, there are deers in that forest, which made the tiger happy and contented, and the tiger didn't wander into the villages. In this way, for years, because of his determination and perseverance and self-belief and hard work, he could go on creating a big forest of 1,300 acres of land. And not only that, he prevented the poachers from invading the forest and killing the animals for their fur and horns. And this man today lives in a big forest amidst wild animals, and he enjoys his forest. The name of the man is Jadav Molai Payeng, and the forest is named after him as Molai Forest. He himself, all by himself, could create a forest of 1,300 acres of land, which equals to almost 900 football grounds. And he could do it all by himself. And the name, the Forest Man of India, has been conferred to him by our Jawaharlal Nehru University, because he had given a talk there, and because of his achievement, he has been conferred the title. And this is his most popular title. And our government of India had given him Padmashree. And not only that, countries all across the world invite him to that place to help make their places greener. And this is the story of Jadav Molai Payeng. Thank you so much for listening to my story.
Thank you, Lipika. Wonderful storytelling, and the artwork was just mind-blowing. The effort that must have gone into it, and such an inspirational story, and also such a relevant story in these times. Thank you for sharing this story.
Thank you so much.
Yes, really
Thank
wonderful.
you, Seema and Ramya, for giving me this opportunity to tell the story here. It's actually a narrative. And Jadav Payeng's story has been in the curriculum of many school books. It is there. So he is being invited to TED Talks and many other things. So mostly the story is a narrative about a person's life and achievements.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lipika ji, and your Buddha is so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's locally done, and I have decorated all this.
Wonderful.